The gentleman's amendment. Point of order is reserved. Thank you. Gentleman from Nebraska.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I first want to thank my colleagues on the VA Milcon Subcommittee, in particular Mr. Fortenberry and Mr. Culbertson and their staff for the excellent work on this legislation and helping me facilitate this amendment and discussion. I also want to thank, of course, the committee staff, who's just been wonderful. My amendment would require that no funds in this appropriation bill shall be used for the secretary for the administrative expenses until the secretary meets with the Nebraska delegation. The secretary's calendar should never be so busy that he cannot meet with an entire delegation. Now, Mr. Chairman, on June 6th of 2013, almost 11 months ago, our delegation asked for a meeting with Secretary Shinseki. And when I say delegation, I mean all of the House members and both senators signed on to this letter, of which I would submit to the record, ask unanimous consent to submit for the record.
That request will be covered under general leave?
Yes, sir. Now, the purpose of this inquiry was to discuss some health care alternatives for the VA Nebraska Western Iowa health care system. Our hospital for 170,000 area veterans is in serious disrepair. Boilers, HVAC, emergency generators, just the very sewer and water pipes are literally duct taped together. We have heard that it's the second worst hospital infrastructure in all of their hospital inventory. Now, even last March, the operating rooms had to be closed down to failing humidifiers. And we're talking about the basic functioning of this hospital is out of date. Without replacement, soon the hospital could face additional major shutdowns for complex and costly replacements of this infrastructure. Now, currently, we are on the list to be built. Somewhere around 18 to 20, but the reality is for years now the list hasn't moved. And now our VA employees are being told that it would be somewhere in the 2021 to 22 range. I fear it'll even be later than that before the new inpatient tower could be built. Now, why do we need to talk to the General or the Secretary Shinseki about this hospital is that there are alternatives available in our community that we need to discuss with the decision maker. Now, I will tell you that even though we made the request in June of 2013 as we head into May of 2014 now, they did get back to us in November of 13 when they said that we can meet with the low-level employee. And the entire delegation rewrote a letter in November rejecting meeting with the low-level employee. We need to meet with the secretary, the decision maker, on these type of alternatives that would be available that, frankly, are much cheaper than the $600 million budgeted. Now, the secretary then did call back in December when the House was out of session and the Senate was wrapping up, I think it was the debt resolution issue for Friday, but even the senators left on Wednesday. So they, at a late notice, scheduled a meeting, but that was when no one was here. And so we've made numerous requests for additional meetings to discuss these great options that would be available. Some of them would involve a leaseback type of provision where people would put up the money, build the hospital, then lease it back, to reducing the burdens on the VA's budget. But we have no one to talk to. And so that's why I'm saying let's hold back the administrative budget until the head of the administration for the VA meets with the Nebraska delegation on this really important safety and health issue for our veterans. I'd like to yield to my colleague Jeff Fortenberry from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, I thank my friend and colleague, Congressman Terry, for his steadfast commitment to trying to find some creative resolution to this problem. And he's very right in outlining this timeline of frustrations that we've had, Mr. Chairman, in dealing with the VA and simply trying to get a hearing to discuss innovative ideas that are potentially out there to resolve this very difficult situation that we have in giving veterans the highest service that they deserve. I did want to mention to my colleague and thank Chairman Culberson as well for working with me on getting some language in the current bill that hopefully gets us out of this dilemma and reframes it. And I'd like to read the language that is in this bill. It says this: alternative financing. The committee is concerned about meeting the need for access to high-quality veterans healthcare facilities, including in rural areas where access to facilities, including clinics and hospitals, is more limited. The committee directs...
Jeff, would you
the gentleman from Nebraska's time has expired. Does the gentleman from Nebraska move to strike the last word?
Mr. Chairman, I move to strike the last word.
Gentleman's recognized for 5 minutes.
I'll continue with the report language. The committee directs the Department of Veteran Affairs to work collaboratively with other executive branch agencies with substantial construction portfolios, private sector contractors, and other non-governmental experts, together with the appropriate congressional committees, to explore the feasibility of employing new funding mechanisms to meet the need for such facilities, including but not limited to private development leaseback arrangements, and to provide a report on their conclusions to the committee no later than September 13th of this year. So right around the corner. We did not want this to linger any longer. Now, in a bit of a new development that I should bring up as well, the VA secretary, did appear before our committee. I laid out some of these concerns. He appeared to be open to ideas, new ideas and suggestions, but we wanted to fortify this by putting in this language in the underlying bill, and hopefully this gets us some resolution quickly. If we don't resolve this, there is something called opportunity cost. Veterans who deserve the highest quality care may not be getting that care over the longer term, when we could be doing something creative right now and innovative to build out potentially a new facility or rehab older ones to modern standards so that we can ensure they get the best and highest quality care. This puts us hopefully on a pathway to creating new and innovative ideas to simply move past the old way of doing things, which makes us wait and wait and wait for who knows how long. So I want to thank my colleague for, again, bringing awareness to this issue, and I yield to you.
Thank you, Mr. Fortenberry, and I think the language is innovative and absolutely necessary, and I compliment you on your perseverance on this issue as well, and insertion of this language into the bill. The lend-lease or the lease-back provisions could be helpful. There's at least 2 community options that I think are high credible options. One of them would be a lease-back type of option. The VA does that on clinics, but they refuse to do it on hospitals.
And housing,
so we need to,
by the way.
And I yield back on that point.
Yes. And the VA, as the Secretary pointed out, does this in housing as well. So there are creative options out there that do not give the government longer-term budgetary risk, but nonetheless help us move past a process that seems to be very stuck. Simply putting money under the mattress until we finally get enough someday, way into the future, where we can give veterans the services that they need. So
if you'd yield one more time.
I'll yield back to Congressman Terry.
Did the Secretary, he mentioned he was open to the language that you have inserted, which is a great step forward. Was he open to actually meeting with the delegation on the options that our community is putting forward?
We discussed not necessarily the specific language. We, in working with the committee, came up with this, and again I want to thank Chairman Culberson for his leadership in helping craft this, but he expressed a general openness toward creative thinking about alternative models that are already being deployed, as you rightly recognize, in clinics as well as in veterans housing. I did not raise the issue about meeting with us, but hopefully again this conversation, this language helps further that cause. I yield.
So I am intending, Mr. Chairman, to withdraw this amendment, Mr. Chairman, at the end of your 5 minutes. But I do want to encourage General Secretary Shinseki to actually sit down and listen to these options. We're not there to berate him or the VA, but simply say that our community is serious about finding solutions, working with the VA, as Mr. Fortenberry has now inserted language that would encourage that. And I yield my time back to you.
Well, again, I want to thank my colleague Lee Terry for, again, his steadfast commitment to this important issue. I think we should all be on the same page. Everybody shares the general goal and mission as to how to get this new hospital potentially in a much better situation, either with a new facility or something that's rehabilitated to modern standards. We've got some innovative ways to do this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Terry, begs leave to withdraw his amendment. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the amendment is withdrawn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Continue to read the bill.